Now we're in Game 2 here of this round of 32 match in the Ultimate Series Solstice tournament between Sweet Super Sirs and what is essentially the Law, using Jarl Jungen here instead of Probusk or VN Sensation, but Probusk usually a member of this team. Who else is usually here? I don't even remember. But anyway, so a pretty strong performance from them in Game 1. Did very well in the laning phase, and then the DC on Nasty Baboon from on that Gemini basically sealed the victory as they just pushed it through, as he has now been replaced by a random or a what, I believe, as he was not in the last game. So perhaps actually going to be a full game this time. But nonetheless, a 1-0 series advantage for the Hellborn side, whatever you want to call them. They're known as Inklin for the series. They're tagged as Znawi, which is of course their captain, not really their team. And this is essentially 4 players that all play for the Law, so whatever you want to call them. There are plenty of options for names here. Pesty, Ophelia, Engineer, and Kraken are the bans, as Pesty, Engineer getting taken out by the Legion side. Ophelia, Kraken banned by Hellborn, as now he's like, yeah, that Ophelia there was really valuable. You can't have it. And Penguin, feeling like the Engineer. We played him, and he was not as valuable, but you still can't have him. Pestilence obviously also played by Znawi, so Penguin not feeling like he wants to play that hero, I guess, and not feeling like it's appropriate to give him to the Law once again. Can't really blame him for that, obviously a very strong hero. And none of those bans are particularly surprising. 2 picks up here for the Legion side, Drunken Master and Torturer. So obviously DM, a versatile hero. You can run him in any of the 3 lanes. He can be a suicide, he can be a mid laner, he can be a short laner. Personally, I think he's best in the mid lane. Not really enough of a carry for me to be putting him in a short lane role, but especially if you add like a Pestilence or something like that, then he becomes a true short laner, I think, just because the Pesty Bugs give him so much physical damage that he can truly carry. And if he does get enough farm, of course, he can truly carry. It really depends on how well he farms. Then again, you give enough farm to anything and they'll carry. Of course, Pesty banned out in this game, so we won't be seeing him, so I really do hope his DM is in a mid lane, but the advantage of a hero like that, of course, giving you the option, not forcing you into a certain pick, and not giving the other team the opportunity to ban out things that you're like, oh crap, we needed that hero. So certainly versatility the name of the game, and that is the case for both DM and Torture, as it is for Bubbles and not so much Parasite or Pharaoh, but Bubbles, yes, can be running in 3 lanes. I don't like him as a short laner. I think teams need to stop doing that. It doesn't seem to be working. But they keep doing it, so hopefully that won't be the case here. I would hope it is a suicide. But Pharaoh's here as well, so I guess maybe suicide Pharaoh mid Bubbles. Pharaoh could also be run as a mid, and that might be even better. It's going to be dependent a little bit on what Legion decide to do with their lanes. I think it's going to matter more on what the individual matchups are in lane instead of like where the heroes should go. But Parasite last pick here for the Legion, and presumably they will ban out the Tempest and possibly even the Keeper, preventing the Law from being able to run a jungler up against their own jungle strat. Not banning them out, though. Only 1 ban left, so we'll see. I hope it is for that Tempest, because that will give the Law the option to run Tempest, and I think with the jungler that does give you an advantage, and if you can get through the first picking stage with a jungler on your team and no jungler on another team, then you should ban out the junglers to retain that advantage. But we'll see what Penguin decides to do here. Obviously, Parasite is strong here, lots of burst damage, and very annoying, especially in the mid-game, can continuously pick off the support heroes, and in most games, some games maybe really will get powerful enough that he can solo pick. Probably not most games. Some games he can solo pick the carry. Most games, him and one other hero can pick the carry, not solo pick the carry. So, strong hero. Tempest final ban here, very smart, very sensible. And Parasite, really not my favorite jungler. I think I would have definitely gone Tempest in this situation, because he does seem to be a hero that you need to do well early on, and if you don't, you're just nothing. And even if you do well, in very few games do you see a 45-minute Parasite that's really dangerous. He's annoying, he puts out some burst damage, and he's a hero you sort of have to deal with in team fights, but he just stops being something that's massively concerning. Once you hit, that 40-45 minute mark, because everybody's got enough health at that point. Really the carries do, maybe not supports, but the carries have enough health to survive the Parasite burst. So they Parasite bursts on them, then is like, oh crap, I don't have any more damage, and then the carry just turns around and kills them, because they're like, well, now it's my turn. So hopefully we'll see a bit more mid-game oriented team here, and that's definitely what it's looking for. Drunken Master Kinesis, both heavily mid-game oriented heroes. Then again, so is the Hellborn team. So perhaps the early to mid-game strategy here for Legion won't necessarily work, because it's not like Hellborn cannot compete in that stage of the game. Certainly their heroes lend themselves very well to that sort of play. Bans, meanwhile, are Dampier, Pebbles, and that Tempest from the Legion side, so a couple strong initiators feeling that Hellborn, for some reason, are feeling that Hellborn don't have enough magical burst damage or strong initiation. They've got strong initiation from Bubbles and Pharaoh. Not so much magical burst, but Bubbles provides quite a lot, and Pharaoh not so much burst damage at all, but again the initiation. So Pebbles and Damp bans. Damp makes a little more sense because you could still short lane him here. Pebbles, I don't think that's really worth it, but whatever. Apparently they do. Moon Queen still there, and Master of Arms banned up by the Hellborn side. Master a little interesting because unless you're going to run that carry role, I don't think he makes a lot of sense for this team. Or he just wouldn't fit at all, really. As Torturers, no surprise, can be put in the support role. Moon Queen and, sorry, what was the other band? Sandwraith? No, so there. So both short lane heroes, obviously, a role that Legion had yet to fill at the time of the ban, so sensible there, and would give them something they're lacking here in this situation, which was team fight. So still lacking it a little bit here on Legion's side. Their push isn't the greatest. Impalement from Torture will help, but not the best. Stagger will clean creep wave, stuff like that, so that's fine. It's not great. To be fair, it's not great on the Hellborn side either, so that's not saying too much. Meanwhile, so anyway, team fight here for Legion, not the best. Lots of single target damage, lots of burst damage. Kinesis and Parasite in particular good at that. Drunken Master and Dark Lady will provide quite a lot of sustained damage and carry potential, but in team fights, even with Rune Cleaver, Dark Lady just doesn't tend to drop a bunch of damage on a lot of targets at once, unless she just lines up a perfect charging strike. So we'll see what Legion decide to do. They certainly have Parasite, DM, and Kinesis to carry them through to the mid-game to get that Dark Lady built up, and she is definitely the hardest carry in the game. So if they could get to late game, Legion should have the advantage. And I'd like to see a Rune Cleaver pretty early here on that TDL, just because that's what she needs to do, I think. She doesn't need to be worried about being able to take fights in the mid, because Parasite, Kinesis, etc. Meraxis is in some trouble here. Has the stun, but he gets chain reactions first. Will actually miss everybody. Now Drunken Master's got him. Zeal stun hitting 3, but it's not going to matter. So Lopix on that Meraxis will drop first. It's interesting Lopix is playing that hero. But Legion lane should be pretty clear, I think. Well, we might see, well, not so much, actually. We might see Kinesis in the suicide role. Parasite, no adapt in the jungle. I'd like to see TDL's bot with Torturer, Kinesis, Suicide, and Drunken Master in the middle. I think that's the best situation that they have. The issue with that, of course, is you're putting a Kinesis Suicide. Kinesis just isn't that good a suicide hero. We've seen it run occasionally, and I don't think it's really ever worked all that well. So I don't understand really why they'd want to go for him. But to go for him they did. I believe Hag was available. Much rather seen a Hag. We'll see. I guess really the only issue with Hag is that she does have... she would be competing with TDL for farm a lot here. As Kinesis, of course, lifting that creep up repeatedly to make sure it doesn't do any damage and try to push his lane up, which he will be successful in. So Legion lane's not surprising, pretty much just as I called them, and perhaps cheating a little bit, but I mean, I hadn't really formed them yet. Hellborn lanes are also not that surprising. Fair in the suicide, Bubbles in the mid, and Meraxis and Amphora up top. For some reason, they felt like the Meraxis was a good short laner. Like, I have the same problem with him as every other short laner is. Short laners need to be heroes that can take advantage of the short lane. Meraxis does not need the short lane. He's tanky as all hell. He's got a stun. He's got the arcane shield for additional getaway. There's no reason why you need to short lane this hero. And if you do short lane him, he gets off to a really good start. That's great. So what? Like, what's he going to do with that? He's still going to play that initiator role. He's going to be tanky. He's not going to do that much damage. Zeal stun and Kinesis there will only hit one end. So Meraxis is going to be more of a threat in the early to mid game than he normally would be, but he's still not going to carry. And he's just not going to put out too much damage. So Hellborn, I'm a little concerned about where their damage is going to come from. As Pharah doesn't do too much, Meraxis doesn't do very much at all. Bubbles does some, but it's mostly magical burst damage, so if you survive that, you're not going to die. Legionnaire is highly dependent on how much he spins. And that's usually not like a good thing, so Hellborn just don't really seem to have any damage. Now, they're tanky as all hell. So that might be their game plan here. Just have, Bubbles and Nymphora sit behind the tanks and not get killed ever. So tdL will have some issues with that, just because, I mean, she is a hero that does a lot of damage, but it's not like she does all of the damage. Mommy Wall's going out there as they're looking for an initiation here, but not going to find it. Impalement doing some damage, but it's not going to be that much, as a lot of it gets absorbed by the creeps. Terra forced to take a health pot, though, so... I think once again, just like last game, I think Hellborn's draft is, of course last game they were Legion, but the Law's draft, a little lacking. And I think if they were playing this game against a team that had as much skill as they do, and I think that's really where the difference comes is they have the higher player skill. But if they had as much skill as on the Legion as they do on the Hellborn, then they could get massively punished for this draft. Just because, tanks are great, and the tank metagame was hilarious because nobody could die. They don't tend to push all that well. Nobody here on Hellborn is going to push all that well, so the question is really, what are they going to do? They should get out pushed, actually. Up top, Kinesis taking much damage will drop, so. In the middle, meanwhile, Bubble's looking for something. Will get a Shell Surf away and survive. Bot room going to be bottled up here by Drunken Master. But I mean, in team fights, they're not going to die, that's fine. But without any damage, they're not going to kill Legion heroes, and they're not going to be able to push. So even if they do get 1 or 2 picks, they're not going to be able to turn that into too much. So I'm a little worried here about everything from the Hellborn side. Now, one thing you have to consider is Parasite is going to have a terrible game. There is one hero he can kill on this Legion side, or Hellborn side, and it's Nymphora. Because even if you jump this Bubbles, it's unlikely you're going to be able to burst him down and kill him before he's able to get take cover and or Shell Surf off. Stun there, well done, as now a DD Torturer will force Bubbles out of lane, so he'll be having to go back. Over here, Pharaoh coming in, but once again, DD Torturer. And he's like, I don't want any part of this all of a sudden. TDL off to the side, looking to cut him off. We'll put the Taint Soul down, and he gets trapped in, but there's the chain reactions, and now Pharaoh's in some trouble. And he's going to drop. So, nice kill there for Penguin. Top Kinesis getting dove by Meraxis and Nymphora. He's going to die once again. And Southport can sort of afford to do that with Meraxis. 2-2 now, with the hero kill score even, so... We'll see how this progresses, but I really do like Legion's draft substantially more than Hellborn's. I think both of their laning decisions make sense. Nymphora is sort of a whatever. You don't really want to put her middle because of Bubbles. He wants the solo experience, also with the DM. It's not likely to make that much of a difference. Obviously don't want to put her bot because it's suicide role. You could duel it, but Nymph I think in the top lane makes plenty of sense. And then of course Legionnaire in the jungle compared to the Parasite in the Legion jungle. Parasite now has not ganked. He's level 6, and this is an issue. Parasite's a heavily active hero, and I guess maybe his spawns just haven't been that good. Or he's got a skeleton king, so that might be helpful. Also, there's a ward here, so Pharaoh can certainly see him coming unless he gets a Wild Hunter. Minotaur is available here. But anyway, I was saying, Parasite really an active hero. Taint Soul going off with the Face Hug available. Leech is there, and the Face Hug. This is going to be another kill on the Parasite, or Pharaoh, so Parasite finally getting a little active. And turns into a kill, so that's nice. And he needs to keep that up, because this is a hero that needs early kill gold because he wants to snowball. And the more he kills, the longer he'll last. Not just because, it'll turn into money for him, and the faster he can get Codex faster, he can get Puzzle Box faster, Portal Key, whatever he wants, and continue having substantial enough burst damage that he can kill opposing heroes. But keeping their levels down, keeping their farm down is just as important. Up top, once again, Kinesis getting dove, Torture coming in with a fort. Zeal's going to stun him out there, and the Kinesis is still going to fall. Chain reactions are going to miss. We'll put the Impel stun down, and a lot of trouble over here as Meraxis will get caught by Drunken Master and drop. So 1-for-1 trade, their little picks going down in exchange for random or what on that Suicide Kinesis, benefiting Legion, of course, because their short laner just died on the Hellborn, and they lost their Suicide, who's died 3 times now, so not that big a deal. anyway, so, you know, like I said, Parasite, keeping the opponents down just as important. You want to keep their levels down, you want to keep their farm down so that they can't survive his burst. As if you let the opposition get too much too fast, then Parasite becomes obsolete that much quicker. Although in this game, he's sort of obsolete really fast anyway. Just because of the amount of tank on Hellborn. Legionnaire also hasn't ganked too much, although Thesis has really had lane control so much that he hasn't had too much opportunity. And Legionnaire is a hero that can be aggressive from the jungle. His issue is usually health, as you can see. He's sitting here at quarter of his health, whatever. Because he takes so much damage from these neutral creeps while he's jungling, he very often can't gank because he's like, well, I have 250 health. If I gank, I'm just going to die. So not that surprising that he's been somewhat inactive. 8-minute room going to spawn here. DM guarding at bot and Dark Lady on... Sorry, DM guarding top, Dark Lady bot. It will be a haste bot. Dark Lady's going to pick it up and perhaps look for a jump here. Bubbles is heading all the way back to base though, so I'm not going to find one middle, and she will be like, alright, that's fine, I'll go back to the bot lane. 43 hero kill advantage in here for the Legion side, but getting out farmed a little bit as they are up in gold by 200, but down by 1800 experience. Just looking at GPM charts here, TDL up to 412 gold per minute, and that's going to be a massive problem for Hellborn. She is already working on her Rune Cleaver, has the light tube, and there's the sustainer finish. Epic Slacker dying in the middle lane, actually. Drunken Master gets kelp fielded. Wrath of the Pharaoh coming in on top of Shell Surf Song of the Sea, just a couple auto attacks on the guys, so... Obviously, like I said, strong initiation there from the Hellborn side. Both Bubbles and Pharaoh can jump people quickly, and with Bubbles' burst damage at this point in the game, he will kill stuff fast. Up top, Marax is chopping all his stuff onto Kinesis, bunch of stuff, and the Zeal Sun is there as well, so man, Kinesis died kind of fast. Matrax breaking before Ning jumps in. TDL looking for a jump on him, will find it, as she's hitting real hard right now. Maraxis has the stomp, so he's not that concerned about his life, but pick off on Snowy is pretty solid. And Kinesis is actually a lot less valuable than Sally's at this point, so a good trade, not just because they took a more valuable hero for a less valuable hero, but they got another kill onto Penguin on this TDL. It's not 450 gold per minute, and this is an issue. This is an issue for Hellborn. It's going to be very difficult for them to kill her. DM jumping here on his Bubbles probably won't get too much. Obviously has the Shell Surf available, taking the bottle charges and off to the side, just baiting this out now. DM in trouble. Parasite going to come into the side. Leech face off will finish off Bubbles. So, jump now onto DM, trying to get away. Zeal Stun going to hit one end, not the other. Lego charging there, but gets Stasis smashed. Kinesis coming in here with some help. Arcane Shield goes up, trying to stop something. Now he gets picked off in the back by TDL, and now she's joined the party. Wrath of the Pharaoh in, onto TDL, will chop everybody in the wall, and that's actually awful. They kill Epic Slacker with the ultimate, but chain reactions onto two, and now this is going to be a death on Pharaoh. And Legionary now getting chased down, not enough mana on anybody though, so they will back off. And that ends up being a 4-for-1, so massively, substantially great team fight there for Legion, as despite that, they haven't really taken too much of the gold lead or experience lead for some reason. I really don't get why they haven't done better in the GPM department. I guess they didn't do too well mid. The jungler, really, that's this Legionnaire, 406 gold per minute compared to Parasite at 300, and then of course a short lanes. They're only doing a little bit better than Kinesis, though, so... Should have a bigger gold lead, I feel like, on Legion's side. They're up 96 in hero kills, but... I guess a lot of that difference is TDL, and they're pretty okay with that. It's relatively even in gold, but Legion have it more focused on their carry here. DM is in a lot of trouble here. Puts the ultimate off. Kelpfield does wear off, and he's gonna live. Now, Kinesis coming in, puts a bunch of damage on the Pharaoh, but it's not gonna be enough. Stagger in, walls go up, though, and he's alright. Wrath of the Pharaoh up in a second. Is he going to go in? Has Hellfire available level 4. Yes, he will go. Plus the Hellfire, but the stagger away and DM's a little too fast. Kinesis now dropping a stage smash. Bubbles coming in with the Shell Surf and Song of the Sea. Kinesis trying to get the hell out of there. Health bot immediately cancelled, but won't be a death. Torture coming in here for some additional support as TDL continues to farm bottom.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
1900 gold up on 2k, so about 400 off of that Rune Cleaver, and should be a relatively quick cleave. One thing I'll notice though is no stacks. Usually when you have a TDL going for Rune Cleaver off the bat, you usually want stacks. Pharaoh trying to catch out Drunken Master here. We will both die, in fact, as Parasite manages to finish off Pharaoh, but DM dies before he is able to do so. Codex now finished up on Parasite, 12 minutes, not bad at all, on top of the Ghost Archers. He's got it up top. Can he skip the stage smash onto Miraxus and a couple of a bit of damage? Arcane Shield goes up, Quake actually misses, and the Matrix goes out. So Miraxus will be fine, and so will Kinesis. There go the broadswords there for TDL, and she will have her cleave when the courier flies it out. I think Parasite, Torture really need to make a priority of stacking this jungle. Ancients are not stacked, they're in fact warded. So TDL having the Rune Cleaver here, but it's not going to help her as much as it should, because the Legion team has not done enough to support her. Meanwhile, deny as Bubbles is trying to get out of there and will, thanks to the Shell Surf. We'll clean up some camps here. But, I mean, personally, I think this is a big difference between, like, a pro-level team, like a, not a pro-level team, but like a top 5 team and maybe a top 15 team, is TDL has been going for this Rune Cleaver build, and Parasite isn't really a hero that needs to be concerned about jungle stacks. He just wants the big creep and he wants to gank, or at least he should. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Pharaoh's in some trouble here. 3 heroes grouped up, try to take him out. Torture and Parasite off the side. There goes the Tainted Soul and the Dark Blades. He's in so much trouble. Chain reactions and the Codex finishes him off. Now going to be a bot lane push as Bubbles has come in. They saw that, I believe, and they're going to try to force him outside of the scene. Meanwhile, up top, Random and one on Kinesis falls. Tries to get the Mass Control onto Nymph, but it's not going to happen. Port here will not be cancelled. Torture coming in. But this bot tower is definitely going to fall. Glyph goes off as a Port's coming in. Actually, 2 of them are, and TDL's in a bit of trouble here. They would try to burst on this Legionnaire, but obviously Parasite's like, I can't do anything about that. Zealstone will hit on both ends, and now TDL's going to die with the Legionnaire ultimate. So a little too much running backwards, really, instead of just trying to get back into their own half of the lane. Now, Hasty Bubbles going to find Drunken Master here. Won't be able to do much about it, though. So I don't know if this is warded, they know it, or what, because it doesn't seem like they've tried to de-ward it. Actually, if they put one here, right here in the split, as jump up top by Miraxus onto DM, coming with the Shell Serpent Song, and C, and that's a pretty easy kill onto Mr. Drunken Master. Legionnaire now taking the Legion jungle. That's an even bigger issue. Parasite gonna throw a leech onto him. Eat that, plus the combo, but Legionnaire's just like, whatever. Bye. I have Porky. And like I said, I was concerned about Parasite's effectiveness in this game because that's what's going to happen, man. Just these Hellborn heroes are too tanky. I wonder if Parasite can steal the Arcane Shield with his face up. I bet he can. Pay the soul on Pharaoh, but he's like, oh, not gonna get me again. I put the mummy walls up and run the hell away. Nymph Port coming in off to the side, and TDL's in a lot of trouble. Legionnaire's gonna catch her, plus a bunch of stuns. Charging strikes away, and there's Miraxus with the drop. Zealstone will finish her off. Torture's here as well.
Getting stuck.
Caught out trying to help her friend.
Massacre.
His friend. Y'all dive into Siege Man, so I see her. Couple of strong kills here from Hellborn, and TDL is just getting caught because she's way pushed up in this lane because she can't farm her own jungle because there's no stacks, and because Legionnaire's taking it. DM illusion going to be found here. We'll get killed until they realize quickly it's an illusion. Kinesis sitting behind the tower in the woods. Parasite continuing to level up the Codex. Perhaps not the greatest decision. Further levels the Codex I don't think are going to help him very much. I think he needs the Portal Key for initiation or a puzzle box or something like that. He needs to be more utility based here. The burst damage is never going to happen. Station Smash and Mass Control going out as Kinesis is trying to get something, but the Hellborn team are massively retreating. Jump in by Legionnaire, and he's going to take a bunch of damage from Hellborn by Legion. Kinesis falls immediately, and so does Parasite with the counter jump, so over here TDL going to get Kelfield. Field goes just dead. And they also get to take on the DM there.
Too easy.
So that's a 4-for-0 now. Legionnaire going to help clean this up. That's a genocide and a tower kill.
Genocide!
So Hellborn with the mid-game timing here, and just so much farm here on sequence. That's really a big issue. 541 gold per minute. He's been farming extremely well. And there's so much initiation and jump potential here from the Hellborn. They have Portal Keys and Miraxis and tries to get the Pharaoh is pointing out, but they have Portal Keys and Miraxis and Legionnaire, Wrath of the Pharaoh, and Bubbles as Shell Source, so they can jump you with stuns from or the effect of a stun with so many heroes from so far away. It's becoming a massive problem for Legion. And now TDL falling behind 3 heroes in Legion on the Hellborn side, in Bubbles, Legionnaire, and Miraxis. Nymph port up here. They will spot Parasite out, but they're not going to jump him. Obviously Legionnaire with the Portal Key. Now he's there. Now Parasite's in some trouble. Zealstone on top of the call. And this is going to be Parasite off the side. Pharaoh jumping onto Torture. He's going to put the Tailwind up, but it's not going to matter. Hellfire Huff will finish him off, and DM going to run away. So a couple of picks there, as Legion are now afraid to do pretty much anything. 12k gold, 16k experience in favor of Hellborn, and they're massively in control of this game at this point. As the other concern now is Pinglin has nowhere to farm, because he just can't be safe anywhere. There's so much jump potential, plus the Nymphora, that, like, what does he do? No matter where he is, he's in danger. The only time he's not is if you see all 5 heroes from that.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Or if you know that the Nymphora port is down, and you see, like, the rest of them. So if the Nymphora port's down, and you see Pharaoh and Bubbles and Legionnaire, then you're probably okay. Base tower now getting heavily pushed in is up top. Legion are pushing top tower. We'll get it, but
the Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
This is going to be a tier 1 trade for tier 3. Not a good trade.
The Hellborn have destroyed
I'm not sure what there
tower.
is to help the Legion can do about this. There's so much tank on Hellborn. And look, I mean, like I said, they're not that good at killing these things. Like, this is not dying fast by any means, especially considering the farm here on the Hellborn side. TDL dropping the ultimate there, but Miraxis jumping back in onto a couple. Wrath of the Pharaoh as well. Zealstone hitting like 6 people, which is amazing. And the entire Legion team is exploding. Kinesis is the only one left alive. And they're going to try to force him down.
Here comes the conceit.
Pharaoh just surviving here, will have poured out. Kinesis coming back and buying back and trying to get the kill.
A
Pharaoh not
Legion
going to happen.
barracks
There goes
has been
Rex.
destroyed. A Legion barracks has been destroyed.
It's a really good start and really good farm here on TDL, but it just doesn't matter. Because the rest of his team has essentially nothing. 260 gold per minute on Parasite is the second highest, and Parasite's gold doesn't matter because it's all invested into burst damage. And the Hellborn team eats burst damage. So, like, yeah, like, burst damage is going to matter to us. You really think that's important? No. DM coming in here, perhaps looking for blood, but nothing going to be found. In 21 minutes in this game, we have 20,000 gold lead, 23,000 experience lead. Off the side, Bubbles in some trouble. Gonna get Tainted Soul and silenced. Not gonna be able to get out of this, I don't think. There's the last hit. But Wrath of the Pharaoh coming in here onto TDL, puts the mummy walls up so she can't chase. Off to the side, Legionnaire gonna pick off random one on that Kinesis, and should be able to get away as DM's trying to chase, gets the stun. Actually, there's a nice Portal Key away from him. Leech going out there, and they're gonna try to kill him. There goes the burst from Parasite. DM's putting some auto attacks in. There's the Codex as well. Alright, we'll call it on. Actually dies. So sequence goes down. Inklin, meanwhile, in the meantime, actually did get picked off. Over here, gets caught out. And there he goes. So actually, that's a trade in favor of Legion at this point. 610 gold per minute here on Legionnaire. Just 383 onto that Dark Lady. And there's a CC vote, and I would not be surprised if that passed. That was GG's. So yeah, that's going to be game 2 and the series, which will go here to the Law, as they had a strong mid-game team, they had a strong initiation team, and they played it very well. And that's what you like to see. That's what you got to see if you want to win these games, is pick your lineup, know what it does, and then play to your strength. Don't try to do something that you can't do. If the Hellborn team weren't as aggressive as they were, there's a very good chance they would have lost this game because of how TDL was, how well TDL was doing. So if they let this get to 40-45 minutes, that would have probably been a GG in Legion's favor. Instead, they took it early, and they will win the game and the series.